Just stop worrying and take this new data, as stupid as it is, because you got this channel. Just don't even worry about it. Just toss it on there. And see it get nowhere. But the nowhere doesn't matter at the moment. Because currently, everything you asked for is happening right now. Look up. Don't be afraid of this plane. What you're looking for, it's right here. And it's no issue that there's been trouble. It's no problem. You think that it all has to be at the right time, and you can't find out what it is that would help you. Because something within you doesn't want to see. Forgotten. Oh, so many steps need to be taken to break through all of these barriers. Oh, the problem is McDonald's. The problem is all the content I'm watching. It's the porn addiction. It's the masturbation. It's I don't have It's excuse and excuse for not knowing how to create the next step. For thinking that I needed to have had another step. I needed to have had different steps. How do I create the logistical actions objectively? How do I build the force to make the action without giving it all away in a way that doesn't work? God's all over the place. He's everywhere. I think sometimes it feels like Jesus is outside and not in the house, but it definitely does feel like God's everywhere. And I'm oblivious at times. Because it has to be this, it has to be that. But journaling makes me aware that it's not true. I've been so wrong that it has to be this or it has to be that. That's so general, but things are so general. And things keep connecting in these ways where I'm like, man, this would have been so fun earlier. Fun, is really the principle here. Man, That would have been so fun earlier. Not pleasure, fun. That would have been. And, why, Why didn't I do the work to get the fun? And, like, what is up with my individual progression of life versus surrounding progressions, and how do these patterns connect all around? And where does the utility of attention separate from kind of the individual's like narrative or like belief system? Just like the way that time relates to your personal reward system, and maturity and exploration and experimentation of neuroplasticity, but like exiting terminology, but can't exit terminology within these frames, but well, time would just kind of push beyond. Forward, but where's I? Forward. Because now dumbified, because there's no thought in my head. Speaking out loud, trying to declutter stuff, and I don't have a filter or a concept. My conscientious trait's not high, and I wouldn't heavily edit this. As I'm talking, the only time I received traffic on a video was when it was about a Bible verse about Jesus being tempted to come down by the devil, and Jesus didn't want to come down. And at that time, I felt like I was going through a similar trial. I'm not in the wilderness, but I am without things. But I'm not in the wilderness. And I'm further without than I've been before. And I'm getting further away than even that. But in the Deuteronomy 30 chapter, scriptures and algorithms and God truly versus the word spoken, this kind of up-down experience lived. The stream of consciousness and health returning to you where momentarily it's just kind of following like a expression, and it becomes a pattern. It's hard to know when things you're doing are to help you against sin, or if it's fruit of the poisonous tree, if it's just more bad fruit. Is there a God pulling you back into this agile community? This kind of time delusion, this it's too late. There isn't even a God that would take me back. That God's not real. You're Satan, condemned. You're a fat sheep. You're the goat. Is that permanent? You will only get the sign of Jonah, because you know. Now I got signs that weren't the signs of Jonah before. And I was like, okay, this word stuff's, it's happening. I would say I got like the sign of Exodus. I wish I'd done things so differently, but I didn't even really start thinking that until later anyways. And then I would say I got to a point where I knew what I was doing is going directly against the Word of God. And then it was no longer unintentional sin, but presumptuous. Am I going to get stoned? Or the equivalent? Because then there's this like Deuteronomy 30 part. It's like no matter how far out you go. But being far out feels like the unintentional, where you're still part of, you're just far. Whereas the presumptuous part is that you're cut off. And that's very different from being far. Being far, but you're still kind of tethered, is a lot different than being cut off. And there is permanence. And there is like a day of reckoning. And even what the wicked produce will be utilized by the righteous anyways. And all of the stuff I had that felt like it was pertaining to the sign of Jonah is like a last warning. Like, okay, you know now, and I'm giving you the sign of Jonah. This is the last one. You gotta do it now. And then I didn't. And then all of the Disney heavenly paradise looking, future forward orienting, all of that kind of feeling of like, hey, I can still make it. I can still be part of this word. That all just kind of went away. But that like remnant of fight still exists. Even as I'm like letting myself weaken, there's like fight still. Like the part that's cut off is the chaff. And it's burned off, and you burn off the fat. You can still be lean, and grace can be something you have right now that just like you can be brought back, it can too. Like there's all of these aspects of life that you're part of, even the mercies, where they're all in this kind of like unorchestrated format. And you notice too, just picking up a thing in the room puts things around, you know? And it kind of speaks a language, the language of action, you know? The scene played in The Amazing Fox, where he tries out all these languages, but the wolf understands body language. Now, it's also like a political symbol, but he also understands body language. And he's also riding a motorcycle, right? So on the back of that truck is a motorcycle too, and it says, fueled by Jesus, and it has that cross as well, right? So you think of coal as a fuel, and the Mormons and these Latter-day Saints and the ELO and things you were wrong about, that you were wrong about it being wrong and right about stuff and not the right way, or you missed but you missed because you were out of the word, and it's used generally like a very like vaguely defined function, but and gross. Gross is the adjective I'd use for actions taken previously of grossly mismanaged time and resources. I don't want to say any of the stuff I'm saying because I want attention. I'm like pulling on an attention chain. It doesn't have to be superb quality, because it kind of holds like a pattern into the future, which I'm kind of like perfectionist about wanting to get the starting aspect right, even though the seed of the beginning is not exactly pertaining to how it'll end up in the future. It's more just like a lever on your own timeline. Whereas in like the thing you're doing is kind of creating a cycle that will kind of play forward infinitely. Especially because what you're doing now won't be utilizing this environment and technology. That stuff will evolve and change. But what it is that you're focusing your attention on internally is something that has felt correct since the beginning of time. And that it's kind of a cycle breaker. And the different tools and stuff we engineer to help us find this place of attention change, and we get lost from them. But it is some sort of magnetic current that, well, if anything, it's like a narcissistic anonymous or a narcotics anonymous or something. I'm just disappointed in my fight for the fun of humanity, for the time I didn't spend playing Minecraft more. And I don't know. I guess I think this is negative. But I don't believe that. I don't know why I'm saying that. Well, I kind of do. I don't really believe that it's negative. Because technology is not bad. It's like a type of behavior that's bad. And I keep doing that behavior. And I'm just acting instead of like thinking. And I'm at a point where I'm older now and I did not pass like the hero's journey of the word. So it's not really within me, and I keep looking at it and reading it and trying to understand it and utilize it like a map, but it's not within me. And it's that place that has been such a successful keeper of path navigations, and it's not in me. There's like an age where you pick things up passively. So these gospel books, Matthew goes to chapter 28, and it's like I had all these chapters or like kind of big arcs in life to be in the word at the stage of development where you're just picking it all up and connecting it. Because after that stage ends, you can actively change things if you're using them to apply, but the way I've noticed the Bible working as I'm reading it and looking at that read it through in a year calendar thing is that all of this life keeps linking to it as a big tree of life. And that within my life, I had all of these chances to be in it. And it was like, hit the mark at 16. And then John 21, Luke 24, Matthew 28, all of these ages. And Deuteronomy 28. But this is stuff like everybody's been talking about. I'm not the first person to come around and say any of this. Why would that make sense? How is it that there's billions of people that have been around for these thousands of years, but I'm alive at a time where this phone is so new? And I'm so behind because I wasn't in the Word each of those days. Because, man, the Word's like some just like time overlapping content that's really just a linker, just like a router tool and a path engine and a guide. But like, what's happening with everything else? Because I mean, the Word ends up leading to all of the other books on the shelf next to it. The Word of God is a library, and if you just follow curriculum and courses, they won't lead you to understand how to utilize a library, or that kind of like programming dictionary that's full of the content of a tree of life, so that you can kind of just point to all of the addresses that matter, or that are like this kind of like the cellular route you're needing to take. And then what's happening with like the sphere shapes and stuff, and the orbiting and stars and planets versus like just how it feels in your sensory to close your eyes. And that I'm so dumb. And it sucks to be dumb and low in intelligence. And not just like geometry intelligence or geometry shape recognition of like doubles, or like picking out which triangle or star is black or white or something. I don't mean geometric intelligence, although that would be huge. I guess like awareness intelligence, or like capabilities, like network, like social, like just an understanding, or like wisdom. I mean, it's not a word, it would be fruits, but proteins and fats as well. It's these kinds of things that don't allow me to create the next steps forward in life. And it's sad to me to have lived so long and used up so much precious time not really getting to utilize what my kind of blueprint was capable of, to just like kind of like demonize the potential for just like maximum fun. Because connecting dots is very engaging, and being able to just have a physical interaction that's fluid with the planet is captivating. Just the touch of physics and the utilization of the body for trees and just a really tuned in understanding of food and people of all ages. What a great life, and to just have really, really good senses. That can make harmonic environments and get it. To get it. And to get it appropriately when it mattered most. So that you're not in the part of time where your mythos asks you, what the hell's wrong with you? What have you done with all that I gave you? How did I give you this seed? How did I give you this place? How did I give you easily everything you needed from the very beginning and start for all of it? So then you follow the spiral down the alien tubes. You fart out a little gas out of your butthole. You realize that things are going to be revealed because it's all there, but not at the right time. And so it's real, but not the one you're in. But this fear, I've had. And was wrong. Mainly wrong when I drank water and went on a walk. Mainly wrong as the days went by and I accumulated or acquired a hobby that changed my perspective on life completely, where I was already working hard to make changes and do things better. And I thought, man, I've wasted all my time. I've used it up. I can't do it no more. I messed it up from the very beginning. And that theme takes on new styles. But I would surprise myself by picking up something else. And it was actually the picking up of something else that brought new light into all of the other areas and helped me defeat the parts that I was battling against. So, my friend's calling. Peter, let's see what this is about.